Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. It is I, Emily Sophia, aka M Mighty Sophia, here to break down for you guys the latest episode of Better Call Saul. We are on season 2. I think it's episode 6. I am bad with numbers this morning, but the episode is entitled Bali High. So, spoiler alert before I dive into the mad thick of things, as I shall be bearing all in this review, and I am filming this before I am jetting off for work, so I apologize if I move a little too briskly for your taste. But yeah, I do have places to be, sadly, and yet here I am about to discuss one of the most fabulous shows on network television with you all. And I just want to say, I so appreciate the Bali High / South Pacific theme of this week's episode. There was, of course, that tender, sweet, endearing little scene with Kim sitting on her bed listening to a musical voicemail from Jimmy himself, asking her to call him and to answer his call. And in fact, the major theme of this week's episode is the different worlds to which Kim is currently being called. For example, she has this job offer on the table from a very prestigious law firm that would arguably allow her to finally be free and to stop having to constantly prove her worth just to stay out of document review, you know? Like, it has been such a tough ride for her with HHM. And yet, when presented with this glimmering opportunity, there's a part of her that falters. There's a part of her that wants to see things through to the end, and that's dealing with a lot of guilt from different sources, such as the way that she feels that she compelled Jimmy to get the job at Davison, Maine, when in fact he was just kind of floating down the lazy river and playing the part of Victor. But in this episode, we do see the emergence of Victor and Giselle once again, which is just cream of the crop. I love those two. and seeing them at work together, it shows me just why they're so compatible. Why there are these parts of their personalities that are in sync. Because even though Kim is doing her damnedest to play it by the rules, to be everything that she can be, to use the law to its fullest extent, and I mean she is doing everything that she can to keep her ship afloat, but there is this part of her that responds to the wildness and the humor and the craziness that Jimmy provides on a regular basis. And the two of them are both struggling to say, yes, I am happy. Like when at the end of the episode, they're both saying goodbye to each other and Jimmy just encouraged her, you know, like, take the job, do this is great for you. And then we see him get into his company car and break open the cup holder so he can put the mug that he got from, I believe that was the mug that he got from Kim, right? The world's like second best lawyer or whatever it was. But yeah, so we see that there are parts of their professional lives that just don't fit quite right. And they're trying to figure out, you know, where their true sources of satisfaction and joy and fulfillment are. Where do those things come from? Why, for example, would Jimmy shirk sleeping in his nice king or queen sized bed at the company apartment to go sleep in a tiny, like, 5-foot room in the back of a nail spa? Like, what are these things that are driving them and that are pulling them away from what should be their goals? And it's really interesting to kind of see the parallelism between the two and how Kim is in a position that's very similar to Jimmy's as well. They've both been kind of put in the doghouse and they're being run ragged and trying to find their way back into the good graces of their respective bosses. But then, when they come together over a few Moscow mules and in one vulnerable Joe Schmo, they can, they get to work and do a little bit of business. They really, really jive and thrive and are in their element. I have to say that I think that probably one of the most, two of the most masterful scenes in this episode for me. Number one, the shot that was following Kim and Howard Hamlin from her office as they're going to meet with their clients. Howard refuses to even acknowledge Kim's presence in any meaningful way. She tries to break the silence and what she perceives as the incredible awkwardness of the situation by saying, "Hey, just FYI, I wasn't trying to get Chuck to tell you anything." And nope, it does not ruffle his feathers one bit. And there are also these incredible scenes where we see Kim trying to put on her smile before the situation escapes her. Like when she's about to close the door to the conference room and she's just, fuming. You can see it in her eyes. And then she just kind of rolls her shoulders and gets her game face on. But yeah, so that scene was really incredible. Very, very tense. Very well orchestrated and well filmed. Also, to switch over to Mike's end of the spectrum, that scene of him and Kaylee at the pool and the motherfucking twins on that building in the distance making handguns at Kaylee. Oh, Malanta. Just the way that Mike's plot escalated this week too was really, really, really freaking cool. What a consummate expert. He is just the epitome of control. And even though we see him after he catches the two thugs waiting out in his house trying to scare him on Hector Salamanca's behalf and on behalf of the cartel, we see his hand shaking as he's washing his hands and rinsing everything off in the sink. But once again, he regains control after the final straw is broken, i.e. with the emergence of the twins, and he goes to meet with Hector and he demands $50,000 for the job. And that's so that he can split it halfway with Nacho, recognizing the fact that, this was a bit of a half measure. So I apologize. I'm gonna do what I can, but you do not fuck with Kaylee, not by any means. Family is one of Mike's major anchors, and I think it's interesting to consider the fact that it's sort of an impetus for who he becomes later on in Breaking Bad as well. It makes me nervous because it's like, what? Oh man, like I'm just so thrilled to see the way that the show is balancing these different plot lines and is allowing even the central character, Jimmy McGill, future Saul Goodman, it allows him to kind of take the back seat sometimes so that we can explore other parts of his world, of his community, and of just the Breaking Bad lore and canon. It's at every step of the way, it's just such a gratifying experience. I'm thrilled with what the show has become and is continuing to become, really investing in its characters, letting us invest in them, showing just how complex Kim Wexler is, for example, because for her to just be some throwaway romantic interest that he loves and loses in a heartbeat, doesn't really have the same impact as seeing these two, fish swimming upstream together and wondering what is it that's going to drive them apart? What is it that's going to break this inexplicable yet organic bond that the two of them share in all their walks of life, from their misadventures to their cases and lawful professions. It's really such an incredible journey. So Jimmy wasn't around for most of the episode as we really got to explore things from Kim's eyes, but then again, just seeing those parallels gives us a lot more insight into kind of what's been going on in in Jimmy's mind too. We see the anxiety in the sense of the need to move forward in both of them, but how's it gonna pan out? So yeah, interesting to see Kim in the hot seat. Also really powerful seeing her in the courtroom arguing for, a losing side of the case, unsupported by her boss. This opportunity comes up. It's all too good to be true. There are all these different Bali highs, And I wonder if part of what's kind of making her nervous is the fact that in the midst of considering this new job, she and Jimmy pull the Victor and Giselle act, and she's like, oh shit, this is still a really prominent part of me. Do I even deserve to try to get out from under Howard's thumb? What do I want? I mean, there's so many different ways to look at her motives, and to look at Mike's motives as well. Interesting to just see the different nuances of his character and his vulnerability in a way that that we didn't even fully get to witness in Breaking Bad. Of course, we do still see his abiding love for his family there, and the fact that he manages to kind of come across as this cold assassin type them. But man, knowing where things end up doesn't take away from the show at all. And that is why I am continuing with every fiber of my being to try to compel people to watch this, to give it a chance. If you loved Breaking Bad the way that I did, the way that so many others did, you are going to love this. I know that I'm preaching to the choir. If you're watching this, you're already in the game too. But wow, incredible to see all the cameos, the way that these familiar characters are being worked in, and understanding kind of the backdrop for everything that transpires around Walter White in the future. It's pardon me. It's maddeningly fun. But I did want to bid you farewell with a see, check this out. I just have to say, this is how deep my appreciation for the show runs again. I got the record, so I wish that Jim would call me and sing me a little Bali High. But also, it's kind of crazy because when you look at him, don't they kind of look like they sort of look a little like Jimmy and Kimmy, See, there you go. There's little Kim, there's little Jim. I say it fits. But anyway, if there's anything I missed, please by all means bring it up in the comments below. Talk among yourselves. I would love to respond to your comments as well. I know that there's things that I missed and that I wanted to get more into, but time is of the essence, and it's not on my side today. So thank you guys so much for sticking around for my review. Take care of yourselves, and as always, I will be back before you know it.